Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Eddie Glass founded the UK prog group Solstice in 1980 with violinist Marc Elton, and the following 4 years would see them make the Marquee Club their home and take the band to the main stage at the Reading Rock Festival in Glastonbury, and many others. Following the split in 1985, a change of tack led to touring as guitarist for American soul legends Bill Withers and Geno Washington, alongside his work as studio engineer as session musician. After recording Ian Anderson in the studio, Andy was invited to take the job of front house sound engineer with Jethro Tull, leading to 5 American tours and long outings through Europe and the UK. Nothing would prove as satisfying as playing with Solstice, though, and so inevitably, Andy reformed the band in its current lineup in 2007. The follow-up to 2020's acclaimed Sia is the band's 7th album and the second to feature vocalist Jess Holland, who was placed 4th in the Best Female Vocalist category of Prog Magazine's 2022 Readers' Poll. Guitarist Andy Glass also ranked 5th in the guitarist category, while the band ranked 8th in Best Band. Big Train's Greg Spalton was moved to comment, "Nothing prepared me for the extraordinary new lineup that they have settled on in the last few years. Solstice are back to becoming brilliant. Their forthcoming album, Light Up, is utterly sensational. Beautiful production, great songs, great voices, tricky rhythms, and epic guitar solos." The band have lined up some live dates to support the new album, including appearances as at the Crop Ready Festival, London's 229 venue on April 28th, and a co-headline performance with fellow 80s neo-prog veterans trilogy. The first time the two bands have performed with each other since they toured back in 1983. Please welcome guitarist, singer, songwriter, producer, and founder of UK's prog rock group Solstice to Interviewing the Legends, Andy Glass. Hello, Andy.
Hey Ray, thanks so much for having me on, man. And that was a great bio. You know, it made me feel quite important for a minute there.
Oh, you are, man. I got turned on to Solstice when I heard Earth Song. That was it for me.
Oh,
I think
hey.
it was like 1984, and it was a Sandy
Yep,
Lay, the vocalist at the time, right?
that's right. Yeah, so was that would be on the Silent Dance album then, maybe?
Exactly. That was
Yeah,
a great
which was,
album.
well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, we were not entirely happy with that album, to put it mildly.
Really?
Yeah, because we've been playing consistently for 4 years, and we had a very a live sound, which we enjoyed, and we went into the studio really wanting to represent that the way we sounded.
Right.
Um, but we were very naive, and we were very excited to work with Nigel Maslin Jones, who produced the album. We were fans of his music
Hmm.
and had been for some time. But Nigel had his own view on how it should sound, and that didn't particularly coincide with ours. So what we came out with was not what we'd gone in expecting. And but having said that, people seem to like the album, and so it's all happy in the end.
I got to tell you, man, Jess Holland has a beautiful voice. How did you get her to join the group?
Well, yeah, I mean, she's incredible, man. I mean,
Yeah.
so me and Jenny, the violinist, the fiddle
Hmm.
player at Solstice, we've known Jess since she was a little girl, since she
Really?
was like 13. Yeah, yeah, because we do these things called folk camps over here,
Hmm.
which are a lot of fun, and we kind of musician as staff members on these things for a week out in the summer, and Jess and her family used to come to these things. So I met her, and even at that young age, I thought, wow, this girl, man, she was playing her own songs, and she was just, had had that X factor, you know, that spark about her. And then we actually, again, me and Jenny, we have another little project, which is a festival band, 20-piece festival band. We play for dancing, okay?
Yeah.
And Jess is the bass player in that band.
Oh, cool.
Okay? So we've been working together in a band for a few years prior to recording Shia in 2020. And, you know, things had kind of gone a bit stale with the lineup that we had, and we weren't too sure where we were going. And Jenny actually said, well, you know, why don't you talk to Jess? Which hadn't occurred to me. So I did. And I said, you know, why don't you come up and record a couple of tracks? And yeah, she didn't even know. I mean, she kind of knew of Solstice because I'd mentioned it, but she was like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. You know, you know, I'm not, you know, whatever. And she came up and recorded a couple of tracks, and she really connected with what we were doing, you know. And I thought, oh man, you know, she sang so beautifully, but much more than that, she had her own opinion, you know. She had her own way, a very creative approach to it, added her own thing, developed this whole kind of harmony sound which she makes, you know. And I just thought it was great. And then we got locked down, yeah, because this was right at the beginning of 2020.
Right.
She just did a couple of things, and I thought, we got something here. And she was like, yeah, we got something, you know. The plan actually wasn't to record an album; it was to go out and do some live shows together. But then we got locked down, and we had a couple of ideas, so we just rolled with it. And actually, lockdown gave us that unique opportunity,
Right,
to really focus on building some more material and putting an album together. And let me tell you, man, she's incredible. And what's happened in the intervening couple of years is she has gone from this kind of, you know, what is this music? You know, I'm into it, but you know, to having at that point not even met the band, right? So we recorded Shia. She only knew me and Jenny. It was a file sharing exercise. She never met the rest of the band. So then through 21 and 22, we started gigging together, and man, she has grown into that whole role. So, you know, her performance live is just like magical, really. So by the time we got to do Light Up, she knew, you know, she had owned that role, right? She knew what she was doing. She knew what she wanted to do. And I think that's reflected in the resulting album, you know?
Sure. The band has got really strong since Sia. I mean, your last, you know, the new album, Light Up, and Sia, they're incredible, man. And like you said, the lineup is perfect. You guys all mesh really well together. I think this is the formula.
Yeah, and that has been just, yeah, life-changing, really, to be quite honest. You know, it's like, oh, wow, we've got this band now, you know, and everyone is so into it. They're enjoying, you know, really enjoy being together socially. I mean, you know, we're old friends anyway, but now we're like, the music's really working and the audience is getting it, and we're just loving playing together. So, you know, long may it continue. I mean, right now we're just on a roll, and I think that what's happening is that people are getting that, so they respond to that, right? So it's really exciting for me, particularly. You know, we're talking 43 years after I formed the band with Marc Elton. Here we are. It's happening again.
It's happening.
You know? Yeah. So it's like, you know, patience, friends. You know, things take time, right?
Exactly. It's only 43 years. That other band that you kind of work with is Three Sticks. Is that the band Three Sticks?
It's not actually. So that is me, Jenny, and Pete the drummer.
Okay.
So Jenny comes right out of the folk thing. Okay?
Right.
So she's like really into, in particular, the fiddle playing in Donegal in Ireland.
Yep.
That's her thing. So when I met her, I met her because she needed a guitar player to play for Kaylee's, you know, for dances, playing this kind of traditional music. And that's how we kind of got involved. And then Pete came in to play drums. So that's that. And we still do, yeah, it's bread and butter for us. You know, we play people's weddings, you know, we play their parties, whatever. But the band with Jess is like, just for the festivals. It's like a 20-piece band. It's called
Right.
the Party Band,
Mm.
and it's kind of like an all-inclusive, multi-generational, multi-ability, big brass section, big fiddle section,
Wow.
rock, kind of rock rhythm section with me, Jess, and my son Alfie, and so that's like a spectacle, it's like a lot of fun. It's like a big sound, and it's really for dancing.
Yeah. No, nobody's in just one band anymore. They all belong to all these other bands. It's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, so it's obviously Solstice is the band, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the creative outlet. But for all musicians, certainly in the UK, you want to survive. You better
Hmm.
be in a few different things, and you better
Exactly.
be versatile, and
Yep.
you better want to do like sessions, bread and butter gigs, teach.
Hmm.
You need
You
a
have
whole
to.
basket of currencies, man, or you're
Yeah.
just not going to put food on the table, right? So, and the very most difficult one of those is playing original music. I mean,
Sure.
I'm sure it's the same the world over, but here, no one pays you to play your own music, man, unless you're like really at the top of the tree.
Yeah.
So,
I do like three sticks though.
oh,
You kind
really?
of remind me, yeah, you remind me of Richie Blackmore with Blackmore's Night.
Oh, yeah,
Because he
okay.
got into that because he loves that kind of traditional
Yeah,
music. And you
yeah,
love that traditional music. So it's very similar.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
I like that.
Cool.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
it's a lot of fun to play,
Yeah.
so it's great.
Well, I gave Light Up 5 stars. It's a
Oh,
great album, man, and very different. I'm going to blow you away with how I compare some of these tracks, and you might think I'm nuts, but some of the tracks. You remember Sergio Mendes?
uh-huh.
They had those girls come in with the beat, and they just the I guess the vocals with her singing kind of reminded me of that Sergio Mendes style, coming in there. Then I heard a little bit of Steely Dan in there, a little bit with the guitar. There's a little Sade in there.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I love the music. It's excellent, man. You did a great job on this album, and it's kind of prog rock and jazz a lot of the tracks as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Shia we did a track called "Stand Up," and I thought, wow,
Yep.
this has definitely got a bit of Steely Dan going on in it.
Sure.
I mean, they are obviously, of course, they are heroes to me, and everyone wants to be Steely Dan, right? Or musicians do anyway.
Exactly.
I remember when I was doing the Tull front of house for Tull, it's like every sound engineer played Asia to tune the PA
Hmm.
system, because that's the best sounding album that's ever been made.
Yeah.
And
True.
Steely Dan, and Steely Dan. Yeah, so that's beautiful. And I mean, the Sade thing I get actually, and I mean, Jess brings a lot of that. So,
Hmm.
I think she helps make it a bit more accessible. I think maybe even outside the prog world, which of course we embrace, and the prog audience are the best audience ever.
Oh yeah.
I think, obviously she's a lot younger,
Hmm.
but her attitude, and her attitude is young, and the way she sings, it brings another dimension to what we're doing.
Sure.
So yeah, so I get some of those comparisons you're
Yeah.
making. I do.
I'm going to talk about some of the tracks. Of course, Light Up is a favorite. I love the guitar, love the vocals. Some of the acoustics reminded me of the Animals album from Pink Floyd for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, I know why that, because
Yeah.
when we break into that middle section of it on the
Right.
acoustic guitar, it's like that's dogs, right?
Yeah. Dog. Yeah.
That wasn't intentional, but
It just happens.
yeah, sure. I played it
Yeah.
to someone, and they said, "Oh yeah, man, that's cool. That's like Pink Floyd, man." But it's kind of different when the band kicks in.
It is. It is. It's a very positive sounding track. A lot of the tracks are very positive, by the way. You know.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that track is literally is a kind of expression of positivity.
Hmm.
and it's really expression of how I feel about what's happening right now. Because
Yep.
there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make us feel like that. But being in this band and playing this music, that's how it makes me feel.
Sure.
So that's where that came from.
It's a great album. Wongle number 9. Now, is this the correct definition of Wongle? It's a abbreviation used to represent innermost thoughts, mindfulness, and self. Is that
No.
no?
Funny enough, I've seen a couple of people that have looked at the meaning for that, and
Yeah.
and one of them, like, it was in the thesaurus or something. Someone had
Right.
asked a question, and the answer was something about it's a Chinese adjective or description of treating a grown up as a baby, and then it said afterwards, and why are you so stupid to ask what that word means? It's like such a ridiculous word. So the story there is when I'm kind of coming up with little ideas and stuff. I obviously save them onto the computer, and I have a lot of little ideas that don't go anywhere, and they've all got kind of ridiculous names, right? They've all got crazy names, and or it might be what this is called 7/8 groove, or funky 5/4 or something like that, and. It just happened that one I saved it as Wongle because that was just whatever came into my head at the time. Yeah, that's Wongle. And so by the time we'd finished the album, it was like me and Jess sat down and said, okay, so what are we actually going to call these things? And some of them are obvious, but and we both went, yeah, Wongle. And so Wongle, that we're going to keep that, man. And Wongle number 9 is just the 9th version of this idea.
Okay.
I'd called the file Wongle, so we decide now that what it means is a funky bass line. That's what
That's
what
good.
Wongle means.
Yeah, that's clever. I always look for the deep meanings of lyrics, I asked Ian Anderson on his new album, because he had a couple of songs with names on it. I says, well, did you know this person? No, I just made it up,
Okay. Yeah.
There's no deep meaning. And of course, lyrics, they put lyrics in there because they rhyme. Because it rhymes, they put it in there, There's nothing deep into it.
But, Ian is a poet, man. I mean,
he is. He's great.
His lyrics are phenomenal, And then I also love John Anderson, his namesake, John Anderson's lyrics, which probably mean nothing, but they are just so beautiful in the way they sound and the context of the music.
Sure.
It's extraordinary. So, when I'm writing lyrics, one of the things that I try, because I find that really difficult, by the way, writing the music is fine. Right. Writing the lyrics is like, now I've got to try and write some lyrics here. And so one of the things I'm thinking about is how they sound in the context of the music, which is I'm trying to learn from John Anderson, right?
Yep.
So sure, they will have meanings to me, but I try not to be too overt in the meaning. I like the idea of people, if they want to listen to the lyrics, they may allow them to make up their own mind what it means to them. That's what I hope for. Exactly. And it's kind of interesting because I've seen in a few reviews people's interpretation of the meaning of the lyrics, and it's completely different to anything that I had in mind. But I love that, man.
Yep.
That's cool. So,
well, that's a good thing because you can get away with it.
There's that too.
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest with you, Ray. I hear a lot of lyrics that to my ears are not good. That to me they don't work. So so I'm really trying not to be that man. I'm not a poet like Anderson, but I just do my best. So if they sound okay, then I'm happy.
Yeah. The early Genesis was like that too, Peter Gabriel, and then Phil Collins, the early Phil Collins stuff, those beautiful lyrics, and meshed very well with the music. Yeah.
You want the lyrics to be musical,
exactly.
That's it for me.
Yeah. Mount Ephraim.
Yeah.
The violins reminded me Game of Thrones. I love violins in prog rock. It's I'm hearing more of that now, as a matter of
Oh,
fact,
okay.
from bands. There's a band in Norway you got to check out called Mir, Meer. Have you heard
Hello,
of them?
I've seen. So we did a gig with them
Really?
over here. We did a festival, Winter's End Festival, which
Uh
was
huh.
last October or something. And they played, and they made me fucking weep, man. I mean, I'm not kidding you. They were
Good
just
band.
unbelievable. They moved me, really moved me. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, they're incredible
Hmm.
musicians. But the song, the music is just so powerful. And those two singers, the brother and sister,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah. So, and yes, and they had two girls with them
On the
playing violin.
violin. Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And of course, Big Train, they
Big
always,
Train's another one. You're right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mount Ephraim, you really hear it. I mean, that's kind of Jenny's folk roots coming through there,
Hmm.
that kind of style of playing that kind of line. But yeah, there's a story behind that track actually, which was were you going to ask me what the name means? Because
Well, I think it's the New Day Festival at Mount Ephraim Gardens,
that's it, man. You
and
got
something
it.
to do with the organizer and the promoter, Dave Reese, right?
Dave Reese, yeah. So
Yeah.
Dave Reese, we go back a long way because he had I mean, A New Day is also kind of a record label, but not very active. But
Right.
it was back in the day, and we did an album in the '90s called Circles, which came out on A New Day,
Hmm.
and a couple of other things that they released for us, which was great. So I've known him for ages, and he when we did recorded Sheer, there's a track on there called A New Day, which is not related in any way to the festival. But I thought when we wrote it, I thought, yeah, man, I know I'm gonna call up Dave Reese and tell him we've written him a song. So yeah, so he needs to give us a slot on his
That's right.
festival, which is a great festival, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Amazing, brilliant. It's basically like Dave Reese's favorite bands,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is cool. So I told him the story, and he said, "Yeah, sure." Sure, he wrote it for us. He didn't believe me for a second, but I'll give you the gig anyway. So we did the gig, and it was great. That was 2021, and then after the gig, that was like the first time we've done that with Jess. And then after the gig, I said to Dave, "So, man, what do I have to do to get on the
Right.
bill for next year?" He said, "Yeah, just write me the ballad of Dave Reese, right? And I said, "Okay," and so I did. But we didn't call it that. But it is it's a kind of homage to his festival,
Hmm.
And actually, really, it's about all festivals, but specifically, I wrote it for Dave and the New Days Festival. So he had to give us another
That's
gig,
right.
right?
Exactly.
It's a beautiful place, man. I mean, it's Mount Ephraim Gardens. It's like a stately home, And
It's in. Is it Faversham? It's in Faversham.
Havisham, yeah, which is in
Yeah.
Kent. It's in these beautiful grounds,
Hmm.
the beautiful grounds of this stately home. So it's a really lovely festival, lovely place, great people, great bands, So who wouldn't want to play that, right?
Yeah. I saw pictures of Faversham. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Really
it
nice
is.
here. Yeah. Next track, Run. A little bit more Pink Floyd guitar solo there.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't really. I
You're a
don't really
great
kind of.
guitar player, by the way.
Oh, bless you, man. I
You're
mean,
excellent, man.
I'm not, a technical player by any means. I'm very unschooled, I never had any training, so I don't really know
Hmm.
what I'm doing. But and I can't do, I love some of these young players, man. What they're doing is incredible. Have you come across a band called Azure? Azure?
I've heard of them. Yes.
Yeah, okay, so they're a young band from Brighton. We've done a few gigs with them. They're like phenomenal, man.
Are
And
they?
their guitarist, Galen Stapley, is one of these
Mhm.
guys that can play anything, all this incredibly techno playing, but sometimes that stuff leaves me a bit cold, I'll be honest with you, right?
Right.
But he plays with incredible musicality as well and feel, and that's beautiful. I mean, my thing is God rest his soul, Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
He is my
Hmm.
guitar guy, right?
Hmm.
And I just love the way, you know, or someone like BB King, you know, can play your one note, man, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So the real kind of shredding thing has never really done it for me, but maybe that's just my excuse because I can't do it,
Well,
right?
I'm like you though. You know, a lot of these guitarists today have all these effects on the guitar, and they just play like this, and that's not talent. That's the effects creating the talent. If you can get an electric guitar, plug it into your amp, and you play, you know, without any effects, you're a great guitar player, you know?
Sure,
That's the
yeah,
difference.
yeah, I do. I like that organic kind of directness.
Yeah,
You
clean.
know? Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah.
And you know, yeah, the techno playing is like, I mean, it's super impressive for until you're not impressed anymore, and then it's
Right.
like, what are you saying? What are you saying? Okay, so what are you saying? You know, are you
Hmm.
saying that I've studied that and I can do it technically, or are you actually trying to express something?
Right.
So, you know, I mean, guys like Steve Vai,
Yeah.
damn, you
Or
know, I mean,
Bonamassa.
yeah,
Bonamassa.
very much so,
Yeah.
you know, they all,
Right.
whoa, man, they hit the spot for me.
Yeah, they're guitar players. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Jeff Beck playing without a pick. You know?
yeah, I love what he does with the
Yeah.
whammy bar and what he did. I mean,
Hmm.
his work will be there forever. So
Yeah. I'm
there
gonna
it is.
miss him.
Yeah, for
Really am.
sure. I'm very happy I got to see. I only got to see him once, and he was playing. He was actually opening for Eric Clapton.
Wow.
This is not that long ago. It was at the O2 in London, and you know, so I wanted to see both of them, of course, you know, and Beck just made me like Mia, actually. You know, Beck started playing this thing and it just made me well up, you know, it was just so unbelievable what he was playing, and I enjoyed it so much. And then Eric Clapton, right away, he had a hard job to do because Beck was just unbelievable, you
Yeah.
know. And as much as I love Eric Clapton, you know, he kind of sounded like, I hate to say this, it's going to upset people, but I've heard all that in pubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it was like well executed, nice, but you know, songs like Becky's always pushing forward. You know, he's always progressing, and Clapton was playing his greatest hits. You know, and you know what? I had to leave because I didn't want to lose this feeling that I had after seeing Beck play.
I
You know
know.
what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
sorry, Clapton fans. You know, I love him, but
Yeah. I feel the same way. I've been listening to music for so long, interviewed so many people, that you get a maturity after listening to people after a long time.
yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what I think about the Beatles now, because I'm going to really piss some people off.
Okay, but don't go there, man.
But you know, I love the Beatles, but still, they were not great musicians at all, and neither are the Rolling Stones. You know,
Yeah, sure, sure,
you
sure.
know, because you know, I listen to David Gilmour and those guys, and like you said, Jeff Beck, and it's like a whole different story. You know, you can't compare the two. You
Sure,
know,
sure.
so it's all right. You got one in on Clapton. I got one in on the Beatles.
We better leave it there, man.
Let's leave it there. Nobody will listen to this. um, Run is a great track, very mesmerizing track. I loved it. Your
Thank
guitar
you.
solo was incredible, and yes, you are an excellent guitar player. So give yourself some credit. Um, Home. That's a slow and beautiful track. Oh my goodness, that could be a commercial hit, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's got some of that kind of, yeah, I kind of know what you mean. I mean, again, Jess's delivery is beautiful, and it
She's
has a
great.
bit, yeah, and it has a bit of that kind of sort of Sting vibe about it,
Hmm.
actually.
Yeah, I
You know
can
what I
hear
mean?
that.
So I suppose in that sense, you know, maybe it's more accessible than some of the others, um, but yeah, that's those two tracks actually, Run and Home. Both me and Jess got very deep into them. You know, yeah, we really did. They both mean a lot. mean a lot to us, and so it's great to hear you comment on that. And with Ron, the first half of it is kind of program 808 drums, which is a bit out there for but Phil Collins did it, so what the hell. But it's more of a, do you know John Martin? Do you know John Martin, the English singer-songwriter?
John Martin.
John Martin.
Was he a soloist?
Yeah. So he was a singer-songwriter, died a few years ago. He made some, if you haven't checked him out, One World, Solid Air, these are incredible albums. And so he's a really big inspiration for me.
Right.
All through my life, it's been John Martin, Joni Mitchell, Pat Metheny, and then kind of Yes and bands like that. So that kind of almost very laid back, ethereal thing is very much, I think, from John Martin being in my DNA, But yeah, Home is, I suppose both those tracks are kind of builders, aren't they? They kind of build.
They are.
And hopefully they end in a high spot. That's kind of what we're going for there.
Well, here's another very interesting track. That's a whole 10 minutes and 24 seconds. And you play the Punjabi banjo on this. Now, how do you pronounce the title? Is it, I can't even, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, so it's Bulbul Tarang.
Bulbul Tarang, okay.
Bulbul Tarang, yeah, and that is the what that instrument is called, right? And it actually translates from the Hindi, I think, it translates to waves of nightingales, okay? Which is a nicer thing than Punjabi banjo. Right? So the story behind that instrument is that Pete, the drummer, he's very into. They're called hang drums. They're kind of they look a bit like a barbecue, upside down like a wok or something. But he's very into these kind of unusual percussion instruments. And he made a beautiful album actually called Beauty of Time, which features this instrument and a lot of friends playing on the album. It's a very cool album. And he saw this Bulbul Tarang, his friend of his in Australia had got one. So anyway, at great expense, right? He buys this thing, has it shipped out from India, pays this huge import tax and all the rest of it. And then it just sits in his studio for 6 months doing nothing because he figures, he realizes he can't really do anything with it. So on my 60th birthday, he goes, Andy, this is for you, man. And he gave me this instrument. Wow. I mean, I was blown away. So I started fiddling with it and playing around with it. And that is how this song started. So the first kind of few minutes of the song are the Bulbul Tarang and various other things going on. And so that piece came directly out of Pete's gift and me kind of playing with it and then recording a few ideas. So, and that's one of those tracks, I'm like, where the hell has this come from? I know that instrument started it, but it just kind of, sometimes when you're writing, I get something I'm liking and then I'm like, okay, so what do I want to hear next? What comes next? And then something comes and before you know it, it's like 10 minutes long but something there's something magical happens, I think, with that track. And then, again, the Azure I mentioned earlier, so their singer, Chris Sampson, who is phenomenal. I mean, this is a young band. I recommend that, your viewers check them out.
I will.
So Chris Sampson, I just thought, this song is like it's like a duet, as I was working on lyrics and ideas, I'm like hearing a male voice in here. I mean, I can't sing, man, I'm not a singer. I thought, Chris, So Chris came in and he sings the male parts that you hear towards the end of it. Phenomenal singer. And this thing just kept kind of growing. And, you kind of wonder how it happens. But, even I'm prepared to say, that's some beautiful music right there, man.
It is.
I'm liking that,
Me too.
I'm really liking it.
Was that hard to learn, the instrument?
Not really for a guitar. It's weird, man. It's like I mean, I could show you if you want, but it's like I call it the transcendental typewriter.
I
All right.
saw a picture of it. It
See
is
it?
strange
Yeah.
looking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. So you
Yeah.
have like typewriter keys,
Right.
make the notes, and then you just strumming, in the other hand. So and it has all these, like a typical Indian instrument, it has these
Right.
sympathy strings that kind of resonate, and you get this whole beautiful ethereal thing going on, So it's almost like you just hit it and it sounds beautiful straight away.
Like a 12-string guitar.
Yeah, that's
Everything
right.
sounds good on a 12-string.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is like one of Pat Metheny's crazy things.
Yeah.
This has all these sympathy strings ringing
Yep.
away. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. So it's very inspiring, and
Yep.
it inspired that track.
It's a
And it-
beautiful track. I really liked it. Some of it reminded me of Earth Song for some reason. I don't know why, but it did.
yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. I get that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
has that kind of that sort of mellowness about it, But
Yeah.
then and kind of groove. There's a kind of, we're very into things grooving,
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned earlier that I've toured with Bill Withers, and that's kind of what I learned from Bill Withers, man.
Really?
It's all about the groove, Andy.
Yep. Yep.
That's what he'd say to me. He'd say to me, and he'd say, because I was very nervous, as you can imagine. He was like such a hero, such a legend,
Yeah.
And we were basically a pickup band for Europe and the UK.
Right.
And we were like, oh man, we couldn't believe we were playing this guy. I mean, I remember like I was 12, 13 listening to Bill Withers and going, this is so hip, And so I was nervous. So I didn't want to kind of like be over the top with my playing or anything, And he kind of he said, oh, man, don't worry, just blow, man. Just blow. As long as we're grooving, everything's going to be cool,
Yeah.
And we hung out a lot. He was just such a cool guy. Sometimes you meet your heroes and you think, oh, I wish I hadn't done that,
Right.
But with Bill, it was extraordinary. And yeah, he taught me a lot. And the main takeaway was like, let's get the groove going, man.
That's what I hear on this album, especially the first, 4 tracks or so, the groove. And that's where that Sergio Mendes thing in my head came, because that's the groove,
Yeah.
And it's so different for prog rock because prog is usually symphonic, know.
Sure.
Now
Sure.
they've got metal prog with all these guys that are, shredding, a lot of shredders now.
Sure.
But this is cool. This is very different what you're doing here.
Cool. Yeah.
You got that groove going on, and you're still, you're still got that within that prog category, which is really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice, I mean, I do think there's as I say, there's kind of folk in there and there's funk in there, and
There's a lot of there's funk in there too. You're right.
because collectively we're, as musicians, we're into all sorts of stuff, so why not let that
Why
just
not?
come in,
Sure.
and what we're doing is honest, so if people like it, that's great, and if they don't, I understand, it's we're just doing our thing, and we're not really I'm never kind of consciously writing with a prog audience in mind,
Right.
but that's my DNA. I mean, the first band I saw, I was 14. The first band I saw live was a band called Griffon, all right, and they were and they were the support band, and then the main band came on. An older friend took me to the Capitol Theatre in Cardiff, which is in Wales. So I see this band Griffon, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. How can anything be better than that? And then Yes came on. Yes came on. They were on the Relayer tour. I mean, my mind was completely blown. I mean, as you can imagine, a 14-year-old. So, that's locked into my DNA, and it still, just blows me away every time I hear it. If I listen to Awaken or something like that, or Gates of Delirium, I'm just thinking, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
Produce something this incredible.
Those are my heroes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I had them all on the show. Everybody except Steve Howe. I had
right. Okay.
I had Wakeman. I had Chris Squire. John
amazing.
Anderson twice. Yeah.
I'm honored to be on the same show, man. I really am. I mean, they are here. Yeah, when we used to play the Marquee a lot, it was it was in Soho in London. It's the kind of place that, musicians came in and out of. And
Mm-hmm.
one day John Anderson was in there, man,
Yeah.
and sitting at the bar, and very friendly, lovely guy. And
Good guy. Yeah.
so, yeah, really good guy. Yeah, I'm talking about like 1983 or something.
Right.
So yeah, he was probably working out what the hell to do with the 80s at the time.
Patrick Moraz lives here in Florida. I've had him on the show several times. What a nice man he is.
You
Really
see,
nice guy. Yeah. And of course,
that's
he was on the
cool.
Relayer album.
Well, yeah. If I was forced to choose my
Hmm.
favorite album, it would be that album.
Me too. That's
Oh,
one of my
really?
favorite. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just incredible. So,
Yeah.
and then I saw Yes again a bit later with Patrick Moraz playing
Hmm.
again at Wembley, and oh man, I mean, I haven't seen anything to touch it really,
Yeah.
and for all the good bands there are around now, and there are some really good ones, you know, no one in the prog, I'm talking about in the prog genre,
Hmm.
no one touches that,
Oh,
that mid-60s, mid-70s, late 70s, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, different level,
I think the best concerts that I've been to were Yes and Pink Floyd. Because, Pink Floyd it's a great show, and I saw the original Pink Floyd with Roger Waters too. And it was just the four of them, and the two girls in the background, before they got evolved and had other guitar players and bass players and, you know,
Oh,
but,
yeah. What a
incredible
spectacle.
musicians,
Yeah, yeah.
they really
Wow.
are.
What a spectacle. Yeah, I've never seen them live, and I never will now, of course, but
Yeah, I know. Um, so you played Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone and Lean on Me. Very
Use Me
cool.
Up. Yeah,
Very
use
cool.
Me, A Lovely Day. I mean, they're all such groovers,
Oh my
And
gosh.
he would, Bill Withers was a real raconteur, so
Mm-hmm.
do the shows and we'd play a track and it would groove out and it would go somewhere and then it would end, and then he'd just like sit on his stool and tell a
Mm-hmm.
story, he'd tell a story.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, sometimes you don't want to hear the stories, you just want to hear the music. But man,
Right.
you want to hear Bill tell a story, right?
Sure.
Because, he was so engaging, the audience. He just drew those people in, man, and he'd tell his story and then we'd lay down another groove. It was such a joy to work with them and play those classic songs, which is,
Yeah.
I work with kids now, still work with kids,
Yeah.
and they know all those songs. They're playing, they listen to that stuff still,
Mm-hmm.
that's like eternal music. Those songs are forever, man,
They are forever. Yeah. Geno Washington. That was another guy you worked with, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was just like he wanted to go out and do duos, do little venues,
Mm-hmm.
some festivals as well, because he had his band as well. What are they called? The Ram Jam Band, is it? No,
Mm-hmm.
not Ram. I can't remember. Yeah, so we did a bunch of gigs together, just him singing, me playing guitar. So it was like a very
Mm.
minimalist kind of bluesy thing. That's what he was going for. I was just jamming out on the blues thing and laying down some stuff for him to sing over. And so it was very exposed, super exposed. Yeah, it was good fun.
And you got your Jethro Tull roots. You've had Clyde Bunker play drums for you for a while, right?
Yeah, in the 90s. So
Yeah.
Clive, I actually met Mick Abrahams
Mm-hmm.
was the original guitarist with Tull. He lives not far from here, and we became friends. And through him, I met Clive. Clive is a really lovely guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever interviewed Clive?
No, I know Martin Barr.
Oh, Martin. Yeah,
Yeah.
Martin's a lovely guy too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so Clive was like, he was doing Steve Village and God knows what else. But yeah, to my surprise, he was like, "Sure, I'll play on the album. Yeah, I'll do some gigs." He was well up for it, and it was great. And that period. It opened doors for us, so that we could get onto some of those Jethro Tull conventions,
Mm-hmm.
and through that, we played with Fairport Convention in Germany, and that's how we got to play at Cropredy that time, which was the late 90s. So yeah, that was quite an exciting period for us. It's sort of short-lived. We only did 2 or 3 years there, and then we kind of melted away again. But this time we're here to stay, man.
Yeah.
It feels very
Yeah.
different. It feels very different this
It
time.
does. Yeah. I can tell.
Good.
It's very serious now. I think, like you said, you guys are going to be around for a while, and bigger things are going to happen for you.
Well, I
Oh,
hope so. But the main thing is that we're just loving doing it right now.
yeah.
So long may it continue. And I feel a drive and an ambition that I
Hmm.
haven't felt since the early 80s. In fact, I'm not really sure I felt it then. We were just kind
Right.
of going along with it. It was just happening around us, and we were loving it. And we were very apprehensive about getting involved in the music industry in any way. We had our real kind of hippie ethic. We had our bus.
Hmm.
We'd play free festivals. We'd do whatever. And it kind of just built itself up, into this thing, which was great. So now I think maybe for the first time, I'm like, let's do another album. I mean, that whole 80s thing, we did one in those 5 years. We did one album.
Hmm.
So these last 2 years we've done two, and I'm already thinking about the third. And
Why
I'm
not?
just,
Sure.
I suppose it's also, when you're young, you're immortal, right?
Yep.
So I suppose now I'm thinking, yeah, I'm gonna do as much as I can,
Hmm.
and I'm working hard. It's very hard, to keep a band like ours afloat and to keep it moving forward. Someone has to really drive that bus,
Right.
man.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing with all my spare time, which I have a few days a week where I just work on a band and,
Hmm.
and talk to people like your good self, and
Yeah.
try and get hold of promoters and that whole
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly. Get
So,
some maybe some guest artists on the next album. Call Ian.
well, yeah, I
He'll
mean,
probably do it.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
little collaboration on Bulbul Terang
Put some
has
flute
made
in
me,
there.
it's, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's made me want to do this. I love the collaboration thing. It's
Hmm.
great. And, we kind of, Stephen Wilson remixed a few tracks for us,
Hmm.
off the original album, because
Yeah.
he was a big fan at that time.
He's
So
cool. He's
it's cool.
really really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, kind of working with other people is, something
Yeah.
I'm going to embrace. So yeah, look out. Maybe there will be some interesting guest appearances on the
That would.
third in the trilogy, right? We got Sheer, we got Light
That's
Up,
right.
we got another one coming, people.
Awesome. Yeah. Sia was another great album. Some of the tracks on that one, Long Gone, really spotlighted Jess's voice. And
Yeah,
there's a video too, an amazing video with that one, right?
right. The kind of
Yeah,
morphing thing.
that was
Yeah,
very cool. Are you going to
thanks.
do more
Well,
video? Are you going to do any videos of the new album?
yeah, we're trying to. I mean, that Long Gone one is just it's just me kind of editing stuff
Yeah.
here. The only really sort of serious video that we've done so far is A New Day, which is off the Sheer album.
Hmm.
We've
Hmm.
got a nice video for that, and
Hmm.
Mark Jepson, who made that, directed that. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago to make plans to do some more of that this year. So yeah, we'll have some stuff coming up. But we've been so busy, doing a lot of live stuff, and there's quite a few live videos out there, of shows and individual tracks, and those things are all, they take time mixing and editing them. So I've been busy, but we'll get
Oh
to it.
yeah. Who engineers your albums? Is that you?
Yeah, so I
Uh,
do. I kind of I do everything. Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of
Um,
work. Yeah.
It is a lot of work, yeah. But as I say, it doesn't feel like I love doing it because
Mhm.
the music's good, and I'm just
Yeah.
loving this band, man. So it is a lot of work.
Hmm.
My family are very long suffering.
Yeah.
I have 3 children, and
Hmm.
you know. But you know, Dad's just in the studio all the time, man. You know.
I know it's tough. At least you're home, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. I'll use that next time.
My favorite song on Sia is Seven Dreams.
Oh,
That's a
nice.
great tune, man. And I love the guitar. Like we were talking about Steely Dan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
heard that on that track.
Oh,
That's a
nice.
great song.
Thanks,
Really,
man.
really
Yeah,
good song.
we were
Yeah.
doing that live. Not
Really?
last year, the year before we were doing it live. Yeah. So there's a full length concert film called She Alive, and that has that track on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was nice to play, but you know the thing is we got a lot of back catalogue and we've got new music coming through all the time, so
Yeah.
it's you know we can't really do more than an hour and a half set, or festivals they don't want more than an hour and a quarter really, so it's kind of hard deciding what we're going to play. So we've got rehearsals coming up and we're going to choose what we're going to play this year, but we can't fit them all in. But we did play that one for for quite a while,
Hmm.
and it's yeah, it's a nice track. But I think if you probably agree, as I said earlier, that Jess has she did a beautiful job on that album.
Yeah.
But after 2 years of playing live with the band and finding you can
Hmm.
really hear what she's becoming on Light Up.
Oh, yeah.
And she's going to keep growing, man. I mean, she's you got to see her live.
Mm. I want to see your band live, man. You got to
Yeah.
come to the States.
Well, I've been working on. We did a Italian festival, which was fantastic. 2 days of Prog Plus One, and I met one of the guys on the board for Rosfest. You know Rosfest?
Yes.
Yeah, and so I'm on his tail, man.
Hmm.
Come on, get us out there. I mean, he's up for it, so we might make it out there, and also, I think 2024 build is probably completed now, but Cruise to the Edge would be out there.
Definitely.
We'll get out there, and we'll get out to Rosfest too, which is
Yeah.
Florida as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll,
Um,
we'll be there, man. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I want to mention some of the gigs you got coming up. One of them, one big one, is the HRH Prague. The lineup is incredible. You got Focus, Tangerine Dream, Steel Eye Span. I haven't seen. I saw Steel Eye Span a long time ago, but you don't see them around too much anymore. And they're a great band.
Well,
Uh,
funny enough, Tangerine Dream, we played right before them at this 2 days Prog, which is in Verona in Italy. We played
mhm.
right before them, and they put on quite a show. So HRH Prog, yeah, should be good, man. I mean, we did do it once before. I don't know when, maybe 8 or 9 years ago.
Right.
Um, and we were billed to play just before Fish, which would have been great. And then the schedule kind of got delayed for various reasons. So we ended up being moved back and playing after Fish,
Hmm.
the kind of graveyard slot. And, to be honest, it wasn't a great experience. So I'm hoping this is going to make up for it. The festival that I'm really super excited about, though, that we're doing is you mentioned it earlier, is Cropredy,
Right.
which is Fairport Conventions Festival that they've been doing for years.
Yeah.
And Dave Pegg, I've been on his case for a while, but he has given us this incredible slot, which is,
Yep.
just a couple of hours before the finale, which is when Fairport play.
Hmm.
And the field is full. It's one stage, up to 20,000 people. So we're probably going to be playing to 15,000, which should be the biggest audience we've played to since Reading in '83. And we'll be playing to a load of people that haven't seen the band
Right.
live. And I'm super excited about that. And I think that's going to kind of help just bring us to some new ears, really,
Exactly. With the new singer, new
Yeah,
album, it's going to be perfect.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
But
had
yeah, we're
Peg.
lucky.
I had Peggy on this show. He's a great guy.
Oh, you had him on the show.
He's
Sweet,
such a nice
man.
guy.
Isn't he? He's wonderful. Yes.
Yeah.
We did we did a gig together, as I say, in Germany in the '90s, and we're flying back, and Peggy goes, "Oh man, I need a cigarette. You know, have you got a light?" And I'm like, yeah, I'll give you a light. You give us a gig at Prog. How about that?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure, whatever." You know. And true to his word, he gave us the gig, and it was great. And and so, you know, once we had Shia was out and Jess was in the band, and we had some nice material. I was back on his case. You know, I was like, "Peggy, what do you think, man?" You know, and he said, "Yeah, I like it. This is great."
Yeah,
So he's booked us back. I'm really pleased.
that's good. Another up and coming artist that I had on the show I really like was Rosalie Cunningham. You know
Oh,
Rosalie?
yeah, sure. She was, what was her band called? I know she's solo now, but
Yeah,
she came out of a band.
she did.
Um,
I can't remember now.
no, but
Yeah,
okay, yeah, I haven't met her. I've
she's
seen.
cool. Yeah,
Right, great, yeah. So she was number one female vocalist in the Prog Readers
yeah.
poll. Yeah,
Well, she
cool.
makes all her own clothes on stage. Found that out. She
She
was
looks amazing.
she was nervous to talk to me because I've interviewed so many people. I've never had anybody nervous to talk to me, so that was pretty cool.
It's just, hey, Ray, it's just people don't tell you. They're all nervous, man.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, some of your dates: March, Fusion 4. You're going
Yeah,
to be in the UK, of course. The Netherlands, awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Prague Dreams. You're going to have to
yeah.
call Mir. Talk
Yeah,
to-
yeah, absolutely. No, so that's an ambition fulfilled for me. That's a venue called the Boerderij, which is a very famous venue.
Okay.
It's in The Hague, so it's very close to Amsterdam, basically. But you know, that's been, you know, the stop-off point for all, you know, all our contemporaries and our predecessors, you know, prog bands. It's
Hmm.
like Prog Central, and but the promoter there is a beautiful guy. You know, he's
Right.
very into the music, and so we did a few gigs with IQ last year, and Ari, the promoter from the Bordereye, was there, and he was like, "Andy, I've got to have your band play over in the Netherlands," you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be very cool. And Fusion 4, actually, IQ are headlining one of the nights, and we're doing the Friday, and IQ are headlining the Saturday, which is
Nice.
unusual. It's unusual to get IQ to come out and headline a festival. You know, they kind of have their circuit of cool
Mm-hmm.
gigs they do, and that's what they do. You know, so they've done well to get them to come and headline, and on the Sunday, it's my old mate Mick Pointer from
Mm-hmm.
ex of Marillion playing. I mean, so you know who I'm talking about, Mick Pointer. He was the original drummer in Marillion.
In Marillion? Yeah.
He did the first album, Script for a Jester's Tear.
I know Steve Rothery.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
were all mates, right? You know, we
Yeah.
were all mates from the same area in the
Mm-hmm.
UK, and you know, Solstice used to play support Marillion,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they kind of helped us up the ladder to the Marquee Club and to
Yep.
Red, and then we helped IQ and Pendragon and these other bands in the same way. So it was a nice community. It's still there. It's
Mm-hmm.
still there. You know, 40 years later, it's amazing.
Very cool. I like how the bands help each other out. You know, why not? Because you're going to be playing together, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, I think maybe when you're younger, it's all a bit more competitive, but
Right.
you know, it's we need to support each other. You know,
Sure.
we can't stand alone, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Exactly. Well, the April 8th, you'll be in the Netherlands. The 28th, you're going to be in London.
yeah,
And let's see, the 29th, that's also in the UK, North Court Music Venue
yeah,
in Abingdon.
yeah,
You'll be in Southampton in the UK on the 30th of April.
yeah.
And
So those three gigs are actually, you know, because probably know about Brexit.
mhm,
You know, it's this crazy thing that the
yeah,
government, and it makes it very hard for UK bands to work in Europe and vice versa.
I've heard that.
So,
Yeah.
we have another promoter, amazing promoter, who he really wants to kind of address this head on.
Right.
So he's bringing over Le Machera de Chera. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but they're a great Italian prog band. So they're coming over, and we're doing these 3 dates together, and then we'll probably go over there and do some dates with them, because they're very well established in Italy and Europe, but they've never played in the UK. So against the odds, they're coming over. We're going to do some shows together, and Brexit.
I've heard that over and over again. It's very hard to tour in Europe because of that. It's a real pain in the ass. Yeah, it's really a shame. It's actually easier to tour in the States now.
Yeah, because I mean, that was always, obviously, tricky to set up, and visas and all the rest of it. But everyone knows how that works. And then this Europe thing, it's made it very difficult to for merchandising as well.
Shame.
Working over there, it's a real. I mean, what a crazy thing to do. Just crazy. But let's not go there, man, because that's a whole lot of worms.
They can't leave things alone, They always got to mess with things. Yeah. All right, Andy, here's your final question. And I ask this particular question to everybody. I get some very interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams wish like the movie to perform with, collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
Well, Jeff Beck's on my mind, man, and he is just like, has always been such an inspiration as a guitar player. I mean, bands, I've mentioned other bands and artists, huge inspiration in terms of their music. But as a guitar player, I'd love to be in a room with Jeff Beck and just get to show me some stuff,
Yeah. He was amazing. He really was. Pioneer. Definitely a pioneer.
And, we call this prog rock, progressive rock. He was a true progressive.
Right.
I love that. People that are actually moving forward with what they're doing, their music, they're playing. And collaborating. He was a great collaborator, right?
He was.
He worked with so many incredible people. And I love that thing. He worked with, I can't pronounce her name properly, but, that real young bass player that he was working with. I really like that whole cross-genre, cross-generational. We're all musicians, let's just play some music together.
Exactly, yeah.
He was very much into that. He worked with all kinds of people. And, if some of it worked, some of it didn't.
Yep.
I don't think he gave a damn about whether commercials. Right. It's about the music. And as I know that we will never make any money, I can take that as shoot as well. And I do.
Yeah. Jeff collaborated with a lot of guys I had on the show. Jan Hammer.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah. Beth, the blues, Beth Hart, the blues singer.
Okay, not sure I know.
Yeah. They Jimmy Hall, not that long ago, he was on an album with Pink Floyd. Wet Willie, remember the band Wet Willie?
Right, okay.
Jimmy Hall had a great voice, but he was also, like he said, though, he collaborated with a lot of people that you wouldn't think he would collaborate with because they were good musicians,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sure. Andy, I just want to say to the audience, they can purchase the brand new release by Solstice entitled Light Up. It's available. Is it GEP?
Yes, it
Records?
is. Yeah. GEP.co.uk will get you right in there.
Giant Electric P.
Yes. Great name. I love that.
That's a good name for a band. A psychedelic band. I guess they can go on your website too, right? www.solsticeprog.uk. It'll probably be on Amazon too, right? I'm pretty sure.
It's kind of everywhere now.
Yeah, good. For more information about Solstice, they can go on your website. You're on Bandcamp, Facebook, Instagram, and of course GEP Records. And I just want to mention also you got the www.threesticks.weebly.com. That's your other band, Three Sticks,
Cool.
which is really cool. And you got a lot of music on that website too.
Cool.
That they can listen to. Andy, thank you so much, man, for being on the show today. I've been trying to get an interview with you for a long, long time. Ever since I heard that first album, it was great. But you guys nailed it now. I mean, this is, like you said, this is a new adventure, new frontier. All good things are going to happen. I can feel it.
I hope so. Well, thank you so much, man. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Me too, Andy. Take care. God bless. And my best to your family as well.
And to you, man. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.